Hello, McFatter Technical High School students and parents. It is Thursday, February 18th. We are here with your weekly updates. I am Jeanette Johnson, your director and principal here at McFatter Technical College and Technical High School. And of course, your two very familiar faces, the assistant principal over our high school, Mr. Daryl Harris.
Hello. Hi there.
And our magnet coordinator, Miss Lily DeCastro.
Hello.
How are you two doing today?
Very good. Thank you.
We hope everyone enjoyed the nice long weekend. Everyone had Monday off. We wanted to dive into a few announcements to share with you today. So we'll start by talking about what's going on today with an online curriculum that our students are going through. And for that, I'm going to turn it over to Ms. DeCastro.
Thank you. So today, being an early release day, we thought it was a great opportunity with 5 hours in our school day to do the 5-hour mental health training that is required for all students in Broward County Public Schools. And there are 3 major components to it. The first part is mental health in general, your own and others, for yourself, others, and helping others, substance abuse, and then there's a section on child trafficking. So the students are working on this. Please take time to talk to your kids about what they learned through the sessions. There might be things that are bothering them that they don't realize is bothering them. And we do have a session available all day if a student does experience anything through the process. But we want you to be aware afterwards if it has a lasting effect. But it's a great conversation to have with your children, and it's mandated because it is front and foremost important at this time. If there's anything you need us to know, you can reach out to the school social worker, Ms. Fort, and her name by email is karrah.fort@browardschools.com, or to the counselor assigned to the students. So, we're here for you in any way we can and for the students, but this is definitely an important piece. We do get a report at the end of the day who has completed all of the components, and we're looking forward to having everyone a little more attuned to the going-ons of these items today.
It's important always, but as you say, definitely never more important than what everyone's dealing with right now.
Absolutely.
Also, speaking of today, we wanted to remind parents about something that should be available to them today. And for that, I'll ask Mr. Harris to remind parents of that. Mr. Harris to remind parents of that.
Okay, so the interims, they come out today. And the interim reports, they are available for your students via virtual counselor, have access to that. And remember that it's a snapshot of where the student is performing at this particular date and time. And if there's always room for growth for our students, and to improve wherever they may be. So if you see an area of need, we are here. The counselors are here, having reached out to their counselors, to their teachers for any type of support they need if they want to get to even a higher level where they are today. So it's just a reflection. We want to make sure those are available. So please look for those in virtual counselor.
And that's actually a perfect segue to the other thing that I wanted you to talk about when we talk about wanting to be available to help students who are either struggling or who are maybe doing fine but want to do even better. And that's the spring camp we have coming up. So if you would talk about that as well.
Absolutely. So our spring camp is actually, it kind of followed up from what we did during we had a winter academy where many of our students actually participated for that 2-week break that we had for the winter. Some students were struggling in some classes and even with their grades, and this was an excellent opportunity for those students to make up work to improve their grades. We saw a lot of success from our students and support from many of our teachers in helping those students. So based on that, the district gave us another opportunity to create a spring winter intervention, so it's spring intervention camp, and this will take place, we're actually going to start it next week. But your students and you will be receiving a short survey about, encouraging, number one, your students to participate if they feel they would like to. And this won't just be for students that are struggling, just maybe with D's or F's, et cetera, but also students that may need support with their EOCs, with their AP exams, with SAT. So we wanted to make sure that every student had an opportunity to receive any type of support that they need. So this our spring intervention camp is what it's called, will run for the entire spring. Actually, it'll go through until May the 21st. So we have lots of time. So if a student chooses they want to get involved now, they can. If they say, oh, I want to wait another month, but there'll be opportunities throughout this whole semester to get support for our students. So we have 10 teachers that have already signed up to support the students. We have 3 of our counselors involved. And so we have a really strong support staff to help the students with any curriculum that they may need help with during the course of this spring semester. So you'll hear more information. Your students will be getting information out probably as early as today, where they'll start getting their surveys out, because our teachers are ready to start. They support the students always, but this will be more focused intervention to make sure that we can support the needs of our students. And so we're very happy to have this opportunity.
Yeah, it's sort of, we were talking about it yesterday. For the families that have been with us prior to this year, it's sort of a combination of our fast tutoring program that we usually have available, AP prep sessions. Many people like to have the students, because we're on a block schedule, do AP prep. And then the additional layer of support for students who may be struggling grade-wise in classes, who don't historically struggle, but may be struggling because of the current environment that we're working in. So it's kind of a combination of all that. 2 quick questions. Will the camp be done on campus or remotely?
Good question. So when we put the plan together, we tried to look at every opportunity that we could reach our students. So the camp will be done on campus for some students. If they like to do it on campus, if they want to do it remotely, they'll be able to do it remotely. And we're going to have opportunities during lunch. We're going to have opportunities after school. We're going to have opportunities for the students on Saturdays if they want to participate. So there'll be many opportunities for the students to participate. And just one note.
Their parents want them to participate on Saturday.
The parents want them. Yes. So also, and if we have any sessions on campus, just know we're going to implement the same safety protocols. I'm sure there's going to be very small groups of students if we even have them grouped together, but they're socially distanced. So we're going to continue to keep them safe if that takes place on campus.
So for the ones that will be on campus, are those only for our students who are currently learning on campus as well, and the students who are learning remotely will do the camps remotely? Can they pick and choose? Do you know what I mean? Can they mix being on campus for class but remote for camp, or vice versa?
We're going to make both available for the students, because based on, and I'm just using AP exams as an example, or EOC, based on what the feedback from the students, what their needs are, the teachers are willing to be flexible. And we have a large team. When I say, 10 plus teachers, and more teachers, even as of yesterday, decided they want to get involved. So that number may even grow as far as the number of individuals. So we're going to make sure that we try to create every opportunity to meet the needs of the students.
Okay. And then my last question, you've mentioned this survey. Where and how is it that people will find this survey?
And Mr. Aman, who's one of the coordinators for, he's our economics teacher, but also one of the senior class sponsors. So he's actually working, and he's going to post that. So it will be available for students, I believe, on their Canvas pages where they can do it. It's a short, I think like 5 short survey. It's basically talking about the time, if they need help in a specific subject area. So it's a pretty short survey, but we want to make sure that we meet the needs of the students.
Perfect. And then if parents or students have any questions about this at this time, who should they be contacting?
They should reach out to they can reach out to me. That's fine. Just reach out to me. And that's Darryl, DARRYL .Harris, HARRIS @browardschools.com. And although Mr. Aman is one of the coordinators, but I'm available. I'll make sure he gets the information, and so we can address any concerns that you may have.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We talked a little bit about kids choosing whether being remote or on campus for this based on what they're doing at home. We also wanted to do some reminders about just this choice around remote versus on-campus learning in general, unrelated to the camp. And for that, I wanted to ask Mr. Castro to review those reminders with families.
Okay, thank you so much. We have students who are on campus who we've vetted through the process, and we can confidently say we are keeping students safe based on CDC guidelines. That being said, if your student is no longer coming to campus and intends to work from home, we need to know that, because if another student wishes to come to campus, we do look at our pre-existing numbers to make a decision whether we can use the room they're in, if we need to relocate a class, so that we can have everybody in the best educational format for them. What is not a choice is, I want to come to school today and not come to school tomorrow. So we need consistency, one model or the other, in school or out, unless a student is sick, in which case, call us, let them know the student is sick. So if a student is working at home and would like to return to school, just email me, lily.decastro@browardschools.com, spelled LILLIE.DECASTRO@browardschools.com, so that I can now pull the schedule and get it to Ms. Johnson, and we can work through the numbers. It does take a few days. It does not happen instantly. So an email at 4 tonight does not mean a class available specifically for you tomorrow. We also put in requests for transportation, and that can take them up to 2 weeks, but they've been processing those pretty quickly because buses also must maintain CDC guidelines for space and safety. I'm not sure if I missed anything on that, but if a student is returning home and not going to be on campus, please also email me so that I can, it's not a big deal. We'll just remove them from the list. That gives us a spot if somebody else wishes to come into that class.
Yeah, perfect. And I just want to reiterate it again so that families understand why it's so important that they communicate with us on this consistently. For the student who has parents, you don't necessarily know this, but there are actually different attendance codes that are in use for students who are learning on campus and are absent versus students who are learning at home and are absent. And so if a student, we think they're an on-campus student, but suddenly they've decided to switch to home, we need to know that to know, are they absent? Are they learning from home just for the day, or have they switched permanently, so we can make those changes? That's why we need to know if you've decided to revert back to at-home learning. And then again, as Ms. DeCastro said, the important thing about giving us advance notice if you want to return to on-campus learning, we're not going to tell you no. We just need to be sure that we can incorporate you into your regular schedule without us violating CDC guidelines and so forth. And then, as Ms. DeCastro said, that sometimes takes a day or so. So we just ask for that advance heads up. It's real important. And then we wanted to wrap up, since we were talking about on campus versus remote, the CDC guidelines, wanted to just wrap up this week by reminding parents and students of some of the key protocols under which not just us, but the entire district is operating related to COVID. The first thing we want to make sure everyone remembers is whether you are a remote learning student or an on-campus student, if you test positive for COVID, notify the school. Okay, the district needs to keep track of who is COVID positive so they can contact trace. Again, even if you're fully remote, it's much simpler if you're fully remote, obviously. It's one quick form that has to be filled out, but it is a form that has to happen for the district. If you're an on-campus student, we need to know it for even more reasons so that we can contact trace and make sure there's been no exposure. Along those lines, so obviously anyone who's COVID positive stays home. We also, a lot of times parents aren't aware that if a student has taken a COVID test, they must remain at home, even if they're normally an on-campus student, while they are waiting for their test results. And obviously, if the test result is negative, the student can return to on-campus learning immediately. If it's positive, then you notify us of that and we walk you through that process. So obviously, everyone knows you stay home when you're COVID positive, but a lot of people don't know sometimes that you also need to stay home even if you've simply taken a test and are waiting for results. By the same token, if you're having to stay home out of quarantine, not because the student is positive, but let's say a family member is positive, the student needs to quarantine. They need to quarantine for 14 days. And again, just let the school know that that's what they're doing and why, and we can make sure that everybody who needs to know that information knows it, while also maintaining confidentiality for people. And then finally, we wanted to remind everyone, Mr. Castro and Mr. Mr. Harris have referenced the COVID protocols here on campus. We're really proud of all of our students who are on campus. They've all been following the protocols. Everyone continuously, they wear their masks, they stay 6 feet apart. Even at lunch, they're not able to sit at the same table because the seats at the tables aren't 6 feet, except for the portable ones that we have out there. So the students have been great about that. The campus is fully sanitized Monday through Friday every evening by our on-campus crew. They come around and sanitize. I call it the Ghostbuster sprays. They do that everywhere. And then twice a week, it's also fully sanitized by an outside company that does that as well. So both as a campus, hand sanitizer is everywhere. So we're doing everything we can to make sure everyone stays safe. We want to make sure that students and families do their part as well. If you have any questions at all, just contact us. Contact Mr. Castro, Mr. Harris, or me. We can answer any questions you might have, address any concerns you might have, just to make sure that everyone's doing their part to keep everybody safe. I think that's all we wanted to go through this week. Is that correct?
Sounds good.
It was a heavy week.
It was a heavy week, and I stumbled over my words a couple times. I had a little trouble talking. I think I need to take a sip of water, but I do think that's it for now. So we will sign off. We will see you here again next Thursday, which will be the 25th. And until then, everyone have a great week. Goodbye, you two.
Yeah.
Bye.